Welcome to that spiritual, actual, factual answers to questions you're asking. You find them inside you, recite you, reciting the records of cash. We laughing, we drafting the passion to vary. It's time for that comedy, dramedy, all of the fanciest, catchiest acronyms. Listeners, listen, we traveling. Conscious is always unraveling. The reading you're having is mapping you back to your natural habitat. Abracadabra, it's magic, let's passing it. To top it off, the host, all the classiest. Now, what were you asking for? All of the answers? What? All the answers.
Well, here we are doing this again.
Here we are, 8 a.m.
8 a.m. It's early morning, my time. Yeah. Since we're on the topic of mornings and sleep, I'll jump right in. Can I just jump right in and tell you something?
For God's sake. For God's sake.
Well, it's relevant to this whole thing that we do here and like self-help and being helpful with each other. I've spent the last couple months sleeping like shit again after having a really good run of sleeping. You gave me a tool a while back and I used it and it helped back then. And then I just let it not exist for a while, even though I was sleeping like terribles. And I was like, what if I just did the thing? And the thing was, to review for the people, was this, it's almost like a brain drain, a mind drain exercise where you record or write, I want, I wish, I hope, I hate, I need, I desire, I forget what they all are right off the top of my head. I have them in my phone. And maybe I'll read them out in a second. And just to get it out.
Right.
I think is the idea. I don't know. It seems kind of dumb and it totally works.
I could say more about it, but go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, did it 3 nights ago for the first time and slept through the night.
Oh my God.
Like still woke up like once, but also didn't. So what's been happening is like literally I feel like my head is on the pillow and I'm dreaming kind of hard. Just dream, wake up. Dream, wake up.
Wow.
Dream. So I'm never like it's exhausting and you don't quite get full sleep when you're fully dreaming the whole time. It's too much.
I know what you mean. It's like when you do mushrooms.
Yeah.
And you close your eyes and all the shit's happening behind your eyes and you watch the film of it happening.
Yeah.
You're not chilling.
No.
You're doing,
like,
you're working.
So yeah, the last few nights I still dreamt a little, but I don't really remember the experience of dreaming that much, which is good for me when I don't. And I slept, 4 hours at a time instead of 672 minutes at a time. So anyway, now say more.
Oh,
about why it's good.
Well, I think the way the ego operates in relationship to spirit on all topics, on all levels for all of us is it says, that seems stupid. That's so basic. It's so simple and dumb. Why would that help me? No.
Right.
I hear that voice every single time I go to get in the records for myself or go to do anything for myself. It's like, well, that's dumb. That's not going to help.
I'm just going to say these words and then suddenly I'm going to see the light of all that is. Come on.
Yeah, totally. Or 20 minutes in the gym is really going to change my whole day. And then it does. Or eating this one meal healthy is going to be better than not eating this cake that I want. And it's like, actually, yeah, it does. Like, how bad is one piece of cake? And my body's like, bad, real bad. You feel terrible after, So it's just, that's the voice of the mind and the ego. It's what it always fucking says. And it's how it tricks us. So there's that. But then there's the fact too of like what you're doing when you're doing that. It isn't just writing down things. It's not just writing down of, it's just, I wrote words. It's,
oh yeah.
The emotions are processing through the hand as you,
right.
And so it's like dreams oftentimes are what we can't process or don't process in our waking hours. The unconscious mind goes to work processing it. So if you give your unconscious mind a break by processing it consciously before you go to sleep, you have less work to do while you're sleeping.
Yeah. And the words, yeah. I never think that just saying anything is going to do it, but no, these particular words, because they have their emotional language. And I've also found very interesting when I did it 3 nights in a row, because I actually in the past haven't really necessarily done it like every night. I would just do it like one and then I'd be fine. But I just did it 3 nights in a row. By last night, what I also found was I had nothing to say.
Oh, that's nice.
I would just be like, I want to be in a movie. Okay. I wish that people weren't dying. I just had a lot less. I couldn't come up with anything else to say. Like the first night, it was like, I want this, and this. I wish this. I hate this, and I hate this, and I hate this. Oh, I desire this, and I really complicated thought around desire on this one, And then it was like, I desire good sex.
Sleep.
Yeah, whatever, just like,
yeah.
That's it. Just simple. There's probably other things I could have thought of, but they just didn't come to top of mind, and I wasn't trying to force it.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Because that's called, you processed your stuff for 2 nights and then you didn't have stuff.
It was nice.
Yay. That's great. And wait, so I missed the part about how was the sleep last night?
So the sleep has been good last night. Yeah.
Okay.
Like enough that, actually, if it's hard to get up in the morning early because I'd rather be sleeping, because I could have stayed asleep, is also a good sign. Because my brain was like, yeah, sleep. I'm doing this sleep thing. Whereas I've been waking up at like 7 and being like, sleep? Could you sleep some more? No? Shit.
Yeah, I hate that feeling. My least favorite is when you wake up. Well, first of all, I'm glad it's helping. That's great. My least favorite is when it's like something rouses you from sleep so dramatically that you can't calm back down, and it's definitely not time to wake up yet.
Yeah.
Like, that you'd be deep REMing it.
Yeah.
Had that noise not happened or whatever it was.
Well, especially if it's 20 minutes before your alarm's going to go off, because then you're like, God damn it.
That's rough.
Really? I'm going to go to sleep for 15 minutes because I really want to.
Although I'll confess something here. One of the priorities I had at a certain point when I was setting my business life up to be how it would work for my body was I will not wake up to an alarm.
Oh.
I'm never doing alarms.
I'm with you. And
right?
Had we not had an 8 a.m. call time today.
Yeah.
And I occasionally have another super early morning feet first gig or even speechless gig. And in that case, I'll wake up to an alarm occasionally. But oh God, yeah.
Yeah, no. I sleep until I'm done sleeping. Period.
This is body trauma reference. When I have to set my alarm, sometimes I'll be like, okay, I'm going to change the sound of it for a little while.
Okay.
Because I've been doing this one guitar riff for too long.
Okay.
And I'll go through and I can, I'm listening to the different tones and it'd be like, doo-doo, nope. Like my body goes, ugh. And how about this one? Bup, nope. Like I had this visceral reaction, mostly because I've used that one in the past. And so then I got an association with it as being a thing that was pissing me off. And it's really hard to find a wake up tone that doesn't make my stomach lurch, like my heart go flip.
Oh God, no, none of that. What about some of those more?
You're holding that memory in your body viscerally.
For sure. Also, it may be your organic sacral response, human design speak wise. Like your sacral response is like or
to a particular. Do you mean because just sound in general, just the framework of sound?
Any input that comes into your field, like do you want this cake? Or a sound happens, or the weather, your body is going to have a or an if you have definition in your sacral center. And so I believe you do because you're a generator. So you're going to have some degree of organically. And of course, according to human design, if you have, the idea would be to listen to that over everything else.
So I'm going to just spend an hour finding a tone that works. But because really the is waking up to an alarm. It's not even which sound it is, although it is.
Fair enough.
Because eventually I'll find a sound that doesn't trigger that.
For sure.
That heart flip. And I'm always so interested to just know that sound doesn't bother me. Why doesn't that sound bother me?
Interesting.
Every other sound here made me.
Yeah, probably it's just a no. It's just a no for you. Do you have one? Did you find one?
I keep forgetting because. Shit, I don't even know if I have one.
Because now I want to hear what you're using.
Let me see what I'm currently using. All right.
Can I guess?
Of course you can.
Here's what I think it sounds like. It sounds like this. Like a dove.
I wish. That sounds amazing. Here, let me just see here. See, what is it right now?
Why does it keep it comes in and out? It's weird. But anyway.
Stupid Zoom. Yeah, that's it. I don't know if I've even used that one yet, but like, yeah, this is what I was using for a long time.
That's pleasant.
But because I used it for so long.
Yeah, you hate it. You hate it.
Yeah, it was great until it. Here it comes. You can't hear it because Zoom, but Desmond will be able to hear it because it's recording on the thing better. Anyway.
What's the part you hate when it goes back down the scale?
I don't know. It just goes.
All of it.
It's the association, because I actually find that sound very pleasant.
Yeah.
But the association of it having woken me up too many times.
I see.
It loses its luster.
1,000,000%. This is how willful I am about sleep. Let's see, sometimes what'll happen, I'll get roused too early, maybe say 6 a.m. And I don't get out of bed till like 8:30, maybe 9 sometimes. If I'm awakened around 5 or 6 and I'm wide the fuck awake, I will like lay there hard. I'll be like, I'm laying here. Like sometimes I'll have the thought, why don't I just get up and take advantage of this time? I'm so insistent on getting enough sleep that I'm just like, no. But then I'll surprise myself every now and again. Lately, I've been waking up around 7:30, and every now and again, I just stand. And I tell myself, let's brush our teeth, and if we're still wiped out, we'll go back to bed. And sometimes I brush my teeth, and then I'm like, well, let's just make the tea.
Yeah.
And then I'm going. But other times, I'm just willful about it, and like, no, sleep is occurring, damn it. And I'm just doing my best to make that happen. It feels important. What else is going on? How's your week? Feels like it's been a long time since I talked to you.
Well,
a long time.
I have been doing. We didn't record last week because you've been sick, and I want to hear about that if we can.
Yep.
But yeah, I've been working hard suddenly, like busy gigs and little things and fiddly bits and stuff and that. Nothing interesting, just out there. Feeling a little more exposed to the old cove. Just working with other humans a lot more and not feeling as protected, even though still fine so far. Knock on wood.
You better knock that wood. The vid, I've been calling it the vid, and then I've been like, why does that feel weird? And I realized it's very similar to VD.
Oh.
Which I kind of love. I'm like, it is kind of venereal diseasey, only not venereal. Had the vid, survived the vid, knock wood so far, God willing.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal though.
It was super brutes. It was, let's see, very much in my lungs. Surprise, surprise. I had the shakes and the fever day 1, along with thickest fluids in the lungs. That my coughing was so bad for 3 or 4 days that I had to, a friend of mine, thank God, told me that in the hospitals, what they're doing with people is having them sleep prone on their belly. Like if you sleep on your stomach, somehow it's something about pressure on the sacs of air in the lungs that the air can't actually expand fully if you're on your back. I don't know why.
Huh.
So I tried it out of desperation and it worked. I would still sometimes wake up choking on my own fluids.
Great.
Many times in the night thinking today's the day I die, and didn't die. And lots of snot, so much coughing that like I hurt my throat. I threw 2 ribs out. I threw my neck out. I've been to the chiropractor twice because of it, and it helped. Thank God for chiropractors. Yeah. And then it just, and then I do the thing where I get really scared when I'm sick like that. And I get very like problem solving on top of my fear. So I'm like calling everyone and going, what does this sound like? What are you thinking? What should that? And then part of what that turned into was my father, who is the most allopathic medicine, Western medicine, can't feel feelings, brick wall of a person who could take 50, name a drug and be like, did I take it? I can't remember if I took it. And I look at a drug and I pass out from overwhelm. And so he was like, what you have to do is, now, sidebar, he is the CEO of a pulmonary research institute. So he's all about lungs. He actually knows a lot about the lungs.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, he's a PhD. He's not an MD, so he's not a doctor at all of human bodies. But his point of view was I should get this thing called Paxlovid, which is I don't know if you've heard about these, but there are these antiviral drugs that are out now that you could buy that decrease your viral load. And if you take it within current wisdom, which isn't wisdom because no time has passed, is that if you take it in the first 5 days of having COVID, it will make sure that you don't have any long-term symptoms over the long haul. That's what's being stated about it. Now, he told me that, and I was like, fuck, I should get some of this. So I had to find a doctor that would meet with me because I don't have a primary care physician set up yet. None of them would meet with me, PCPs, because I have COVID and they wouldn't let me in the office.
Oh, the great irony.
And then I'd be like, well, how about a video conference? And they'd be like, you can't do that for your first meeting. So I was like, you're telling me because I'm sick, I can't go to the doctor? Are you with me? Does that track?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm mad.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. The medical system is fucked in the ass. So nobody would see me. But then I learned a bunch of people helped me figure out that through your insurance, there are doctors right now because of COVID who will just do a meeting with you. They'll just meet with you on Zoom and be like, all right, what's your deal? Because of COVID. So I met with this woman. She basically was like, here's the real deal with Paxlovid and all these antiviral drugs. We have no idea what they do to people. They're barely legal. They're just past the FDA, blah, blah, blah. But we have no anecdotal experience with them, and we have no research experience with them for this problem.
Right.
Now, people have been taking antivirals forever with regard to HIV, and we know that they help with HIV. But we also know here's the 4 huge side effects that usually happen for every human that takes them. And she told me, and I was like, yep, I can't handle any of those. So I don't want to do this. And she said, here's what I'm going to do.
Because your side effects are always times 5.
Times a million. Yep. So she said, I will prescribe it for you, but I want you to research it and really think about it. So I got it prescribed. I went and picked it up. I still have it here. It stared at me for a while, and I didn't take it because intermittently, in that same time, I chatted with some healer friends who were like, oh, you just need to take L-lysine, which is an amino acid, for viral load. And you need to take this thing called Clear Lung for your lungs, which is a Chinese herb. And I started taking them and felt better in 20 minutes. It really helped. I'm still taking all that stuff. So then I just said, okay, that's what I'm doing. This is what always has worked in my life is take the organic thing that isn't a Western drug, because your system's too sensitive for that. And I did, and it worked. And then slowly, I just got steadily better and better. I had the 3 days, I'd say, of the thing that people talk about, some people have with this, which is very sudden and dramatic fatigue, where I was like at the grocery store, like, I'm okay, I'm out. It's past my day 5, I'm wearing my masks, and then I must sleep immediately.
Yeah.
And then I'm in my car just asleep.
Wow.
Really intense, fatigue. And that.
Did you get the brain fog at all? Where you really just couldn't think straight or very foggy brain?
That would come with the fatigue. And I, knock wood, thank God, I found that it just kind of all very steadily just got better and better so far anyway.
Glad.
So, me too.
Well, it's kind of like you got your booster, huh?
That's how I feel. Except now here's a question, which you probably won't have answers to because nobody has any answers at all on any of these topics.
Nope.
But I've heard that the new strain can go to animals like your pet.
Awesome.
So when your dog licks you like she does all day on my face parts.
She could. This is purely anecdotal. It was actually when I was exposed a while ago, had a more of a significant exposure, didn't ever develop to a thing. And I was supposed to cat sit immediately from that. So part of me was like, oh, that's perfect because I can isolate while house sitting.
Yeah.
But then the person who I was supposed to cat sit for was like, but my cat can get it from what I've been getting. It's specifically cats is what I've heard.
Oh.
The cats are, and that was in a previous strain, just like, oh no, it's possible for your cats to get it. I guess there's similar DNA something that they can match up with, but I don't know about dogs. I heard it was just cats.
Okay.
But again, I heard. Let's just talk about I heard. There's a lot of I heard on here.
A lot of I heard. We're just I hearding all over each other. Because the new one, I guess, is again, another Omicron level of high, easy to catch, low, terribleness.
Mm-hmm.
Is that articulate in any way?
Yep.
Yeah. So Fuck if I know. And it's called something like DBQ 375. It's hard. It's like numbers and letters.
They stopped doing the scary ones and made it more technical again.
Yeah, they stopped.
Delta, Omicron. This is scary. And so they're like OB39J.
They went human for a while. Now they're going nerd. No, now they're going science.
Science.
Technical.
Omicron sounds sciencey because it's a Greek letter.
It does. It also sounds like a building you and I would do a speechless gig at. Where are you guys coaching tomorrow? Omicron in the Bay Area, down in Palo Alto.
There's got to be a digital company called Omicron. I'm going to look that up while we're talking.
Yeah. Or like a spaceship that Elon Musk made. The first one was called Omicron. It didn't land well. So then he built Deltacron. It landed on its side. Can you believe it?
Yes. I got to read this out loud to you because it's so perfect because it doesn't mean anything. I just typed in omicron.com because I know if I just Googled Omicron, it would give me all the other results. But is there a company, this poor company, they're like, well, we're fucked for about a year.
They're fucked.
It was like Corona. Like, well, our sales are going to plummet. No more beer.
Except like the beer's sales went up.
Yeah, I guess so. They got famous.
Yeah. Anyway.
Closing the gap between data and results, ensuring usability and quality of streaming data and events in the process industries is an essential step in the journey to digital transformation and smart manufacturing, supporting every phase of the deployment and lifecycle of the OSIsoft PI system infrastructure.
I don't know what any of that means.
No, we have been, well, that's our sponsor. It's our first sponsor is Omicron. Imagine, develop, evolve.
It does not say imagine, develop, evolve.
It does. Imagine,
that
develop, evolve. Oh, that's funny.
Right? You know what that is? That's an episode of 30 Rock where they're making fun of all the acronyms, all the corporate acronyms that we all deal with.
Oh, yeah.
They were always...
Are you guys IDEing? What do you mean? Imagine, develop, evolve?
Exactly. They're all on 30 Rock. It's always synergize, synergy, and yeah. Oh, business people.
So, yeah, there is a company called Omicron, poor guys. Yep.
Wow. We should look at their stock status. Now, let's talk about cake.
Okay.
Did you, after our Is It Cake talk,
yeah,
did you have a chance to watch the other one I told you about?
I started to watch the engineering one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
It was fine, but it didn't hold me because
okay.
I think I do have to hate watch a lot of that stuff in order for it to really work. Maybe. There has to be a little resentment. I don't know why.
Sure. A little edge.
It seemed fun. I think I just got distracted and never went back. But I don't even think I got through a whole challenge.
Okay. All right. It gets weirder and weirder, which I enjoyed. They make them make cakes that are like, it's a car and it has to go 25 miles an hour and it has to slam into a wall and not fall apart, but it has to be cake. And you're like, what? And then it's like, it's a boat and it has to float on actual water and it can't tip over and it has to go through a bridge. It's like wild shit.
Do all the parts that they use in it have to be edible?
Good question. No. Because there's like certain like mechanical parts that are mechanical, but it has to be like covered in frosting. So it'll be like a metal flap that, you know, is the rudder of the boat, let's say, but it's also covered in fondant.
It's always fucking fondant.
Fondant. I don't know how you say it. I don't know why I'm thinking of this. So that's a fun show. Enjoy that. It's called, what is it called? It's got 2 words. They call them on the show Baking-eers.
Yeah, not a fan of that.
Is that your...
Why am I a hater?
Well, is that your Whoomty-Whoomp?
It might be.
Remember I was mad at Whoomty-Whoomp, but not actually mad?
No. Yeah, it's true. I don't hate Baking-ears. I still hate webinar.
Really?
Yeah. I don't like the word webinar, but we talked about that.
Fair enough.
It's my moist.
I love that. Yeah, this made me think for no good reason at all. I had another date I could tell you about.
Okay, great. Leiah is here.
Okay.
She's a little early, but...
let's let her chill for 2 minutes.
Okay, great.
Let's let her do some baking in her Baking-eer.
Yeah, I want to hear about her date.
It starts with a deep sigh. Let's just say this.
So it didn't end with a deep dicking, is what you're
saying?
Hey!
Jokety joke, duh. I wish. Nope. It was the kind of thing where I'm just trying to come up with the most concise words around it. This man was so unaware of anything about anything.
Yeah.
Here's where I got duped on this one. He See, I'm learning a real important lesson about humans through dating, which on the apps, which is just because somebody could do text banter. I've already learned the one that's like, just because your banter is good on typing doesn't mean you have chemistry in life.
Yeah.
Or that you like each other. It's just text banter. It's easy. Okay. That one's got it. The new one is just because they're witty and charming via text doesn't mean they have self-awareness about anything else. I have made the mistake, I realized, of thinking that if people are smart enough to be funny, because, funny is not the easiest thing for a lot of humans. I tend to think if they're smart enough to be actually quick and witty and funny, that I'm actually laughing, that they know themselves a little bit, or they've done some deep diving and looking at themselves. Nah. That's it, really. We had dinner. He knew nothing about himself and was open about it. He's like, oh, yeah, that sounds like it might be true. I don't know. He kept doing things where I'd be like, oh, they have this cheese and then they have this Brussels sprouts. How's the cheese sound to you? And he'd be like, okay. And I'd be like, oh, cool. Okay, well, how's the Brussels sprout sound? Okay. And then I was like, what drink are you going to get? And he was like, I don't know. What do you think? And I was like, this one's good. He was like, okay. And I thought, well, he's just being agreeable. Okay. Then we go on, and every conversation we had, whatever I would say, he just would, oh, okay. No.
Did you try on anything just to test the theory? Like, well, I'd marry a Nazi, Okay.
I throw babies off bridges sometimes.
It's fun. Do you want to try that?
How do you feel? Do you want to come?
Okay.
I didn't do that, but it got so annoying that at a certain point, I actually said to him, so your agreeability that you do, is it about people pleasing, or is it you're actually that agreeable? Now, the reason I felt I could ask him that, because that could seem really, really confronting and mean, but it's because by that time we had developed a bit of a rapport where we were kind of teasing each other about stuff already. He's giving me a little shit about this and I'm giving him a little shit about that in a fun way.
Uh-huh.
And he had agreed with me 70 million fucking times at that point. So I figured he was ready for that question. And he said, I was once again clueless about humans. And he said, I'm agreeable? And I was like, oh boy.
I love it.
You know that you've said okay to everything I've offered or thought of or suggested or said. And he was like, I did? Nuh-uh. And I was like, well, do you want examples? He was like, yeah. He didn't want examples. So I gave him examples.
Wait, did he say, okay?
Yep.
When you offered him examples?
Yep. So I gave him examples. And he was like, oh, I guess I did do that, huh? He's like, come to think of it, I think that's probably why my wife left. And I was like, what? And he goes, and I go, well, what happened? And he said, well, she's a teacher and her teacher next door, buddy, became her lover. She cheated on me and she left me for him. And I just thought to myself, oh, well, he's like a younger, newer model, I guess. Okay. And I was like, were you really okay with it when she left? And he was like, no, it was hard. But I mean, it was fine in the end. It's fine. I was like, okay, bro, I gotta go. I'm tired. Then he did the thing that I hate the most, and then we'll stop talking. We'll let Leiah in, which was he kind of sorry, it's so funny. He ran out of give a shit in the middle of the date. Like we were doing I ask you a question, you talk for a while, then I pause because I'm hoping you'll ask me a question and then I'll talk for a while. But what actually happened was I asked him a question, he talked for a while, dead silence. So I asked his ass another fucking question and he talked for a while, dead silence. So I asked him a third fucking question, he talked for a while, dead silence. And then I stopped because I was like, he's not even aware that this whole conversation is happening because I'm trying. He's not trying.
Yeah.
What if I just stopped trying? So I stopped trying. I just sat there. And after a while, the silence was so long that he said to me, so what else, Katie Rubin? And I said, I'm going to need you to be more specific. He goes, what do you mean? I go, I need you to ask me a question that at least pretends to imply you actually give a shit about what the answer is.
Boy, yeah, this is going to go well after this moment. Yeah, we're getting down. There's some intimacy happening here.
Oh, God. I was just so done by that point that I was like, oh, I'm going to be very real now. So then he was like, oh, do I not ask specific questions? And I said, you haven't asked me a single question. He was like, I haven't?
Okay.
And I was like, I gotta go. So that's what happened. I do have to urinate. Let me do it before we let her in. It'll take me 30 seconds. I'm so sorry.
Okay, go.
Okay.
So that was my date. I think it went really well. We're probably going to get married.
Yeah. and then you're going to leave him.
5 minutes later, because I could only tolerate him for about 5 more minutes ever.
God, there's so many things there. It's like, I think we should get a divorce.
Okay.
Okay.
I actually I commiserate. I
hear you.
I feel the very baby version of I feel a version of what he's doing in myself.
Totally. I get it.
It's a lot of the work I've done. I mean, I've worked like crazy on that.
Right.
So maybe, now that you pointed it out to him, maybe he'll get some work done.
Yeah, maybe. Not with me, he won't. But
Nope.
somewhere.
Yeah, no, I mean, he could hire you, but, that'd be a whole different relationship.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't happen.
I did have the thought of like, I wouldn't mind boning down with this guy once. I wouldn't mind being like, so, hey, I don't like you, but do you want to put your parts in my parts?
Because you could tell him what to do. You could be like, now please do this for a little while. Now do that. Okay.
I bet he'd be into it.
I mean, I would. I love that.
No, I hear you. A lot of dudes do. I love that about men. Because I think it's like the vagina is a complicated village. Let's be real.
Please tell me exactly what you want.
Please tell me.
Where it is and what feels good and what doesn't feel good. And
happy to
move
tell you.
on from that and do more of that.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm glad for that. Good for that. See, I had for real, I'm serious. He's like got pretty eyes and he's like a pleaser. So I was like, I don't mind. We could go to, but then I'm not going to.
Could you never call me after that?
Then leave me alone forever. Okay, let's bring her in.
Who is this person? You'll tell me when she gets here.
Sure.
I know nothing about our guest. This is a person.
Yeah, there's a picture.
Are you with us? Yes, you are.
And now I am here.
Hello.
Getting ready to join you is kind of like waiting on the shore to jump into the white water in the upper Hudson River. I'm quiet. And I know you guys have been rollicking.
That's right. Jump into this river with us.
Right.
The water's freezing. Good luck. So, okay, you have to forgive me. First of all, you and I have a lovely relationship, mostly by text, voice message, and maybe a chit chat once or twice. I still think I screw up your name in my head.
Leiah.
Okay.
I'll never forget that because obvious reasons I'm a nerd and that's good times to associate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the way it's spelled, it could be Leah, it could be Lee, it could be Lay, it could be Leiah.
Well, the I is in there, Leiah, because my father's mother was named Leiah. My father was in the Army and stationed in Hawaii in World War II. He loved Hawaii. And when I decided to change my name to Leiah from the name that's on my birth certificate that I never liked, I put the I in there to honor my father. So it's the Hawaiian Lay. So
yeah.
What's the name that you don't like that you have?
Roberta.
Oh boy, no.
Which, if I were French or Spanish or Italian, it would be Roberta or Roberta, which would be fine. But in upstate New York, it was Roberta.
You don't even have to part your lips to say it, Roberta.
No, it's also quintessentially Anglo-Saxon. And there's nothing Anglo-Saxon about me.
Yeah. The only reason I said no, definitely no, is not because I have hate for the name. It's because I know you a little bit and you don't feel like a Roberta to me.
No, I'm not a Roberta, but I'm a Leiah.
Yeah, you are, home slice. So Cassidy was just saying like, okay, you need to tell me about our guest. Like, who is this person? And I'm going to say a couple words about who you are to me. And then I'd love to hear how you would frame it, Leiah, about what is happening here.
Okay.
And then I have interview questions for you, which I will ask you about yourself that have to do with spirituality and wind and ponies and fairies.
Yes.
So, okay, this is what I recall. I was doing a talk about the Akashic Records at a psychic fair in Danville, California. And in front of groups, it's a bunch of people, maybe we had 30, 40 people in that room. You were there. You happened to be at that event. Mm-hmm. We chit-chatted. You said words. You asked a question. I don't know. And immediately for me, I was like, oh, this is a soul sister. I get this person. She's a badass. She's done her work. She's here just hanging out, not because she's like desperate and in pain and here to heal. She's like, oh, people who do light stuff. I get that. So then somehow I had your contact info because I think you probably put your name on a mailing list or something. And then I think what happened, you tell me if I remember this wrong. I think I messaged you and was like, hey, I liked you. You're cool. what's up? And you were like, hey, you're cool too. And then we started to just email each other. And then you were on my mailing list for stuff and you came to some things. And then I'd from time to time voice message you about stuff. And then you referred a client or two to me. And then now we're like chit chat buddies of like, I feel like you're me just a couple minutes longer on the earth.
Well, I'll tell you, sister.
All right.
I have said to people, because I've recommended you to many people, not just as clients, but go check this chick out. If I had had the courage to articulate my version of what we're aiming for and how to get there when I was younger, I would have been you.
Wow.
I would never have, I was a nice girl. I would never have had the courage to be profane and speak about the sacred in the same breath. And when I first heard you speaking, I thought, oh my God, she's using the word bitch. Oh my God. Yeah, it's a word. And so you've cured me of that. But I'm so moved to hear you say that you see that that I and you are on the same line and like we're in different angles, different spaces on the line.
Totally.
Because when I saw you do your thing, I mean, that my maiden name is Reuben. And so that alone goes, woo. But when I saw you do your thing, when you connected and you were just there, raw, gibberish, Arabic, who knows, doing it all, stuttering and letting the light come through it, because I know what that feels like. I thought, you know what you're doing. She knows what she's doing. Oh my God. There are so few people who I see, because I don't go out to place. I don't go out to watch many people do stuff, but I've seen a lot of people who connect with higher expanded self. And I know what it feels like. I know what it looks like. And I recognized truth when I saw it in you. And I knew that I wanted to be connected. I knew that I wanted to embrace you and say, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. You're doing the right thing. This is so powerful. So yeah, I am a huge fan.
Oh gosh, I love it so much. I'm so honored.
It's true.
I appreciate you. So, okay, now that I feel praised and loved up on, it feels good. I want to roll around in it. Just juicy. I can feel it in the second chakra. Levy, I would love to know. So, okay, energetically, I was just aware that, who's that?
That's Krishna. Krishna and I have coffee every morning.
Oh, that's nice. Krishna's on her coffee mug, everybody, for the listening audience. So, Leiah, so you said like maybe you would have liked to have had a certain amount of courage to do this kind of thing at the time, that whatever. Tell us about your spiritual path. Like, how did you get on one? What does it mean to you? What's it look like over the course of your life?
Okay. When I was 5 years old.
Yes.
We lived in a little house in Schenectady, New York, with a small backyard. But to me, of course, at 5, it took many steps to get to the end of the yard. I walked around the garage that was in the back of the yard, took a nice little walk, and I came to the end of the garage where it almost met the driveway again. And it was May. May in upstate New York means lilacs and lilies of the valley. So I looked up above me and there was this lilac bush. And I looked below me and there were these lilies of the valley. And then I looked at the sky and click, I was online. I looked at the sky and I thought, oh, there's the sky and I'm here. And as long as I remember the sky, I'll be okay. And then I thought, I'm not going to go and tell mommy because I knew it was mine. That was, I guess it was my awakening. I don't know. It was the point at which I recognized who and what I was. And then I just continued to really vibe with nature. I had parents who always supported me. They would roll their eyes a little occasionally. And my father, who was he was raised in Trenton, New Jersey as a working class guy who had to fight for what he wanted. He was always afraid for me that I was too trusting. And he would say, you got to be more careful. You can't be trusting, blah, 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 blah. But I knew that that was just his version. So they continued to support me in whatever I wanted to do. In my 20s, I began receiving downloads. I didn't know what they were. They felt like Lily Tomlin's characters, and I felt I was
love it.
Crazy.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
Because I'm loving this every millisecond of this. But I want to clarify one thing about when you were 5. When you said that was the first moment I knew what I was or who I was, I'm hearing you say you understood that you were a small thing in relationship to a big thing?
Yes. I was a small thing that I was here as strategically. I've never put that together before, this moment, that I understood that there was a strategy. I was here and home was up there.
Oh, I see.
And that this was my job.
You were here to do something.
Yes, I was the agent of something big that was home, and it was in the sky.
Okay, cool. I see now. All right. So there you are. Your parents are supporting you. Downloads are happening.
Downloads are happening. I'm happy. I have a nice life. And I just continued getting downloads of various sorts. And then in 1980, in the 70s, I would be talking to someone, and all of a sudden I would know that I would have to be quiet because there was a word that was going to come, and the word might have been, and now we will begin. And I would have to aim my little finger at somebody I was talking to. And I knew that energy was coming out of my little finger. It was very weird. And then I began experiencing spontaneous mudras. I'm walking down the street in Schenectady, New York in the 70s, early 80s. And I have to get down on my knees and do this, mudra thing, back with my knees on the ground and my hands up joined above my head, leaning back, looking like an Indian miniature sort of painting.
Yeah. Can you define for the listening audience what a mudra is?
A mudra is a sacred gesture. Mudra is a Sanskrit word. And often we see images of the Buddha with his fingers, like his forefinger and his thumb together and the other 3 fingers down. That's a mudra. Even putting our hands together in prayer, palm to palm, is also a mudra. It closes the electrical system of our bodies. So I began experiencing these things. I stopped going. I was a regular attendant at the Jewish Reform Temple that I had been raised in. And I stopped going to services because I was sure I was going to levitate and that I would embarrass everybody. And I thought, I can't do that. So it slowly began to inform me more and more and more and more. And I just kept on saying yes to the downloads I was getting, and eventually had a psychic reading with a man named David Massengill. I have no idea if he's still on the planet, but he connected me to what he called the Space Brothers and Master Andreas and Master Matthias. And he said, have you ever heard of, I'm not thinking of the word, Maitreya? Have you ever heard of Maitreya? I said, I think so. And he said, well, you and Maitreya are best buddies. And then he went on to tell me what might be described as a fantasy. And I listened and I thought, wow, this is really incredible. Wow. And he told me a lot of stuff that elevated my sense of purpose and self, and that I was shy to tell people forever because it sounded like I was saying I was something special. And of course, everybody is sent here with a mission. Everybody is sent here with something their soul longs to do. And I was fortunate in hearing someone talk about it in a way that made sense to me. And so then the downloads really began, and specific, we are glad you are here. We have a lot to tell you and we don't have much time. So please don't ask questions, just type.
Wow.
So David Massengill says to me, okay, they want to have regular meetings. They have to set it up on their schedule as well as yours. When would be a good time to start? I said, Wednesday at noon. Fine. They said, make sure you have a writing instrument nearby and no distractions. So Wednesday at noon, I sit down in my office at the Schenectady Boys Club, where I am an employment counselor for at-risk kids. And I feel a swelling in my throat, like it's going to strangle me. And maybe it means that my throat chakra was opening. I don't know. And then I heard I had this pressure in the back of my head, like someone was going knock, knock, knock. And I just paid attention and I began typing. And that was the beginning of the really inspiring downloads that made sense to me, that I could share with people, that I could say, isn't this interesting? Or, wow, listen to this. And it felt like a prayer to all. And so I've just continued to do that.
Did they become a book?
You know what? I was going to write a book. And then I went into a bookstore and I saw that someone had written a book called Ramtha. And I said, oh, someone's doing this. So I don't have to. But no, it hasn't been a book, but I'm now putting collections together and I'm going to publish it at some point.
Wow. I mean, I'd read that shit.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. So I've published some of them on my blog at lightspeak.com.
So the first downloads, before they were the second kind. Okay. The first downloads, when you said, so then I started to get downloads. What were they initially and how would they come through you? Voices, sounds, feelings, energies?
They came through as words in my head that did not have a voice with them. And the first one was like, Fernie, Fran, frolic, 13 bugs in a leaf trying to get out. No one knows where they're going. Now, I called that a download because it was the same process as the downloads that I feel come from a much expanded, wiser, coherent, cohesive source. But it's still something that appeared in my head without my having thought those words. And I wrote them down and I just kept on writing and writing and writing.
I see.
So there was a lot of nonsense, but I thought, okay, this is something in me. This is an aspect of my personality that's desperately trying to be heard. So I waded through the crap for many years. And then when I had the reading that said, oh, yes, they're trying to connect with you, I said, okay. And then everything began to make sense.
Wow, that's so interesting.
So then in the 90s, I was getting work done by a wonderful energy worker for like over a couple of years. And every time he worked on me, he would say, oh, there's this beautiful seafoam green coming out of your heart. Can you see that? And I would say, no, I don't see that stuff. Well, after a while, he said, I want you to look at my energy field and tell me what you see. I said, I don't see things. He said, give it a try. So after he worked on me, we went into this darkened room and I said, well, okay, if there were a color around your heart, it would be dark pink, there would be some green. And then he had me describe his whole energy field and I saw it all. And he said, yep, that's right. You got all the colors. Next week, make a painting of it. Because he knew I had just bought some pastels and pastel paper. And that was when I began doing my energy portraits, which then became the principal way that I practiced my spiritual awareness as an expression, in addition to just trying to be a good person. And so I still do those. And a while later, when my son went to college, I went into his room and I sat on the bed and I cried. I said, oh my God, he's not dead. He's just in Delhi. Delhi, for people who are not in upstate New York, is a town which one would think would be pronounced Delhi, like the city in India, but it's not. It's pronounced Delhi.
One of our best friends who has been on this podcast lives there.
Really?
Yes, and I'm always saying Delhi to people, and they're like, do you mean Delhi? And I'm like, well, white people.
Right, Delhi, right. So I sat there and I thought, I need horses. So I called up a friend who I knew who had horses like 5 miles away. And I started grooming horses and hugging horses. And then I met a woman who had a tape, said how to communicate with animals. And so I listened to the tape. And because I'd been doing work and meditating since I was a child, I knew how to do this, these steps that she described very simply. And I began talking to the horses or listening to them actually. And that blew my mind, because talking and having a conversation with an animal or a plant or a rock is exactly the same as having a conversation with a person you really respect and you want to listen to and learn from.
Wow.
That's me.
I get it. What's the most interesting thing an animal has told you?
Well, the most astounding thing that I learned was from an elephant who I spoke to. An elephant was about to be rescued from a zoo in Argentina, brought to the Global Sanctuary for Elephants, which I think is in Brazil. I asked I wanted to give her an idea of how long the process would take of her moving. And I said, what is your concept of time? And she sang me a song that described the arc of the movement of the planet and the sun. And then the most wonderful thing she said was, after she died, I connected with her again. And she said, human thinks that elephant is merely making way, but elephant knows that human is in charge because they think they're in charge. And so elephant waits. But she said, you've really damaged the planet, but you can reverse this by opening up to love and treating each other and the planet with love. It can be reversed. And that really surprised me and moved me very much.
What year was that?
That was 2018 or 2019.
Oh, that's very hopeful.
Very hopeful. But the most astounding thing in another way that an animal ever said to me was when I opened to a horse and I just, I connected, I felt the presence of the horse and I heard, because now when I do animal communications or when I connect with spirit, I hear the words in my head as well as seeing them. He said, I greet you in the name of all divine beings. How may I be of service?
Amen. Namaste.
I know. Yeah. So they have wonderful things to say, wonderful things.
I think you have just inspired me to learn how to do that. I think I'm going to do that.
It's really easy. And I can tell you how to do it right now. These are the 5 steps that I learned from this cassette tape. Okay. Now, first,
it's also being recorded. So
I have to say that I am kicking myself that I did not write down the specific name of the book or the author. I can't give her credit. I know it was a woman. I've asked a number of animal communicators who are more famous than I am, which isn't hard. And no, I haven't found it. So if the person who wrote that book is listening, please let me know. Here's what you do. You picture the word hello in your head, and you picture it in an exact font, size 14 Garamond or Times New Roman or whatever it is. You picture that word, you can see it in your head. You know exactly where it sits in your head. Then you picture it on your forehead. Again, specifically sitting there, hello. Then you picture that word sitting on your nose. Again, the exact type. With me, it takes up this much space. It's about 2 inches high. Then you picture it on your chin. Hello. Now, by the way, you've got your animal sitting somewhere near you. Now, I'm curious to what Squeezle is doing while you're doing this, because I know old Squeezle. Okay, so then you picture the word hello on your shoulder. Then you picture it on your elbow. Then you picture it on your wrist. And you give it time to really see it. Then on your hand. And then you put your hand very close to your animal. And you picture the word hello on the animal's body, head, flank, whatever it is you're touching. Now, here's the tricky part.
Hold on one second. Then you touch the animal. You're actually touching the animal.
You don't have to touch the animal, but you put your hand really close so the word hello can easily slide or jump or fall onto the animal.
Okay.
If you've ever played Trivial Pursuit, you know that the first thing you think of is usually the right answer, and you go, oh, that can't possibly be it.
I hear you. Mm-hmm.
So the first thing that you become aware of in your own mind body after you've put that word hello on the animal is the response. It could be a word, a song from the animal. It could be a song in your head. It could be a memory, could be an itch that you have to scratch, anything. And then you go from there. Now, when I did it to my cat, the horses were great. They told me all about pregnancy and why they didn't want their foals. And that was very sad. But when I went home and I did it to my cat, first thing he said was, I want wet food.
Wow. He was clear. He was like, finally, you can hear me. Jesus.
Right.
I can't eat this kibble shit anymore.
Exactly. But that's the way you do it. And if you're a practiced mind facilitator, that is, you know how to work with your own consciousness, and you can imagine an expanded sense of communication, it's easy. And if not, you just keep on doing it.
If only I knew what you meant.
It occurs to me thinking about that. I love the idea of sort of active visualization, because it was told to me one time about animals that they experience things as like ideas as opposed to words. So you're using a word, but you're giving the word form. and then you're actively imagining it getting on them.
That's right, because we have to imagine the process in order to make it real for ourselves.
So we have to give the word hello more than just a word. It's giving itself forward. Well, like I've been told, like you never tell a dog goodbye or I'll miss you. You tell a dog, I'll be back.
Oh, true.
And you imagine your homecoming while you're saying that to the dog, because then the dog is given, that is the story the dog then has, as opposed to the words of goodbye or I'm leaving.
Oh.
Another way that I've heard people describe how animals perceive is that animals perceive, you're right, in ideas, and that they send us pictures, that they experience reality as pictures. Now, the reason I think the reason that this method of hello in a specific font works is that it's for our sake that we need to make it concrete. We need to know that there is something passing between us and the animal. The animal knows, they've been waiting for us. Yeah.
When it's on the hand, does it matter which part of the hand?
I don't know. I've always pictured it on the back of my hand for some reason, but I don't think so.
Okay. How cool. Oh, I'm 1,000,000% going to do this with Squeeze today. She, in the other room right now, sometimes she likes a little space, Leiah. Sometimes she needs a little space. Because she and I work so intensely together. Like the moment the record's open, the moment a client, the moment a class, she's right here or she's right on the lap and she's facilitating. She goes to sleep, quote, quote, but she's in a trance space and she's holding some kind of pole that I can't hold. And it's miraculous and amazing every single time it happens. And when you said, I'm wondering where Squeezel is, she stood up and shook her body in the other room. I heard her call her, tinky, tinky, tinky. And I figured she was going to come in because she heard you acknowledge her. But all she did was like, okay, I heard my name. I'm here. Cool. She's kind of stretching and warming up.
Very cool.
She'll come over when we open the records, I'm sure. Well, thank you for that training and for everybody listening. Gosh, I hope we all try it. Everybody out there who's open and energetically aware, like, let's do it. I'm definitely going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always been that way with me. I hear you and relate to you in terms of like, I don't know, they would teach a thing in healing school and they'd be like, so if you just like feel like this and you open this part and you think about this, the first thing you get, this is the thing. Then you go from there. And I'd be like, oh, cool. And then I would just do that. And everybody else in the building couldn't do it. But it wasn't actually that they couldn't do it. It was that they didn't trust the first thing. So when you don't trust the first thing, you close the door to the second thing and the third thing, and then you just don't believe that things are there. So it's really just a trick of the mind where you say to yourself, like, well, what if it is true that his heart chakra is yellow? Because I see yellow, so what if it's true? And then you just pretend and you go like, well, what else could I see? Oh, well, that would be green. You know, if there were permission, in acting school, we call it the magic as if, or the acting as if. It's as if you're pregnant. And then it's like, oh, well, if I were pregnant, I would walk like this and move like this and think like that. And if you can give yourself permission to believe the magic as if, well, there you are, living in a different reality.
Yeah, because you can come up with plenty of reasons why that quote won't work. Sure, you're right. Everything you're now saying to me is true. It won't work because you're telling me it won't work. What if it did?
Yeah.
So now we get into the whole idea of alternate realities and what is real. And one of the things that I've given a lot of thought to is what is real. So a number of years ago, I was very depressed. I'm really lucky. I've only been very depressed once in my life. And it wasn't even anywhere near what I know many people go through. But I was depressed. And I was driving along the street and I had this thought, I am so depressed. It's the only thing I could think of. If I could think of something else, I wouldn't be depressed. And that was very real to me. It's how you feel. So I knew the importance of what we focus on. And at this time in my life, I made myself take a long walk every day until I smiled. And then once I smiled, I was fine. Because if what's real to you is what makes an impact. We've all woken up from dreams, either still in the emotion of the dream, sobbing, angry, funny, whatever it was. That dream was real. It didn't happen in 3D. It happened at another plane and another realm, but it was real.
100%. I don't have a problem with this. I mean, I live in so many dimensions that are all clearly real. The conversation I'm usually having with people is like, people start a conversation like this. Well, if there were aliens, and then I'm like, okay, let's back up. Back it up. They're beep, beep. Given that there are aliens, like, in other words, it's so, because, okay, most people, if it doesn't exist in 3D, 3D is what people think is real because it's dense and form is the thing they're familiar with and they can touch it. Oh, the computer has a feeling when I touch it, right? But if it's in some other realm, that's not real. I've never related to that, but I understand it. I understand that's how most people perceive reality.
Yeah.
Do you ever have the thought, like, or some version of this? What is the point of those of us who can see beyond and know it's all real and it's so obvious when the rest of the world can't? And I know one answer that I live with every day is like, I'm here to help people see it. Part of my job is pull them forward into it. Part of my job is open them to it. But still, it's sort of like, that's nice. But also, we're talking about a huge majority of people so that we remain very much still, I mean, much less so than in the past, but still very much on the fringes. And I do believe the collective is waking up more and more, and you see it in the young kids now. The kids these days. Everybody's into astrology now who's under 20, which is very interesting to me. They're all like really into astrology, this generation. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Everyone that I meet, they're like, well, anyway, I'm Gemini with Sag rising, so you know. And it's like cute and cool, and all their cafes have it, and all their shirts that they buy and their mugs, it's all the moon and the sun. And I'm like, okay, somehow this got normalized for you guys. Great. Now there's a lot more. Are you ready? So my point being, there's so few of us and we can see so much more. And then even the people who pay me money, significant amounts of money to come to a class where theoretically the idea is I'm going to blow your lid off and you're going to see all kinds of shit. They can see an 18th of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a superiority I'm talking about on my part. I do not feel fucking superior. I just feel like, well, this is what I have and that's what you have. So given that, do you ever wonder, like, what is the point of being able to see it all when it's so misunderstood and not believed in?
Because if nobody saw any of it, then we'd all be stuck in the dark ages.
Then why can't we have 50 million people who see it instead of 6 of us?
We can if people could somehow imagine that the box they believe they live in all of a sudden has transparent sides. And then the box they believe in all of a sudden, oh my God, I can put my hand through that transparent side. People need to be led so that they feel safe. Here's the thing. People don't feel safe.
You're right.
With unbounded possibility. Oh my God. Because think of the number of people, and I gather from what you've shared that you did not have a happy-go-lucky, oh, I'm so safe and treasured childhood all the time.
Ever, never once.
Okay. So there are so many people who, unlike you, were not driven to crash through that low self-esteem and fear because their soul was saying, no, you have to go there. That's what you had to do. A lot of people, most people don't have to do it. And when they feel that pressure, they say, oh my God, this is so unsafe. I have to pull myself back. Hello, alcohol. Hello, drugs. Hello, unsavory relationships. Hello, fixating on daddy or mommy figures who were going to do the same thing to me that daddy and mommy did.
Yeah. Hello, TV, phone, whatever it is.
I believe that each individuated bit of life, which is to say each person, each dog, each plant, has a soul mission. That this is my idea of how we're created. All that is, which I often call source or prime source or divine being, has a thought in its head. That is, we have a thought in our head as God. And God thinks Katie. And then God goes, Katie. And Katie exists everywhere there is any life at all, in whatever form is supported by the environment in which that little bit of Katie happens to open up.
I hear that.
So we're driven by this mission, whatever it is, because the idea of Katie came through with some heft, a version of what could be. That's my idea. And it helps me. And when I do energy portraits of people, and I say that to them because these are multidimensional portraits and they have languaging from all over the cosmos, people nod their heads. You know, if you reach a certain portion of people who are open to the idea of expanded reality, then you can help them by giving them little seeds to imagine, how could this be? Did I answer your question?
Oh, I don't remember the question. Cassidy?
I was
delighted. I was delighted.
As one who does not perceive what you both perceive. And, Katie, I would say you're one of my close friends. I think I'm one of your closest friends. And
yeah.
We have a very intimate relationship, and you know me very well. And so speaking as one of the people who has been given the what if, has been provided with that through this podcast and through our friendship. And I definitely was, come in as a person who still does not perceive it.
Right.
Except for in very tiny glimpses every once in a while. But I benefit from my exposure to it and my, I'll say, belief in it. I'm in a constant state of sure. Okay. of that, of just saying, okay, well, what if? Because it keeps coming back that, yep, the what if paid off. The what if paid off. The what if paid off for me. And it expanded my soul. But very rarely have I actually had a visceral, perceptible experience with the divine or with the
all that is,
or with the other realms or aliens or the things that you perceive as commonplace for you. But so your task is still to expose me to it without necessarily opening me up to the experience of it. I still get the benefits of it. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Well, it does, because when you say open to the what ifs, in one of my channelings many, many years ago, I was channeling an entity that named itself as the essence of Christ, which kind of made me tongue-tied for a minute there. And like as the angels say, stop that. Just stop thinking that you're lesser than. We have work to do here. Stop with the awe. And I said, what's the most important thing for me to put out there? And he said, first of all, yes to everything and do not fear. So I then began using yes as my email address. Yes at something. That was my domain name. And I just put do not fear on everything.
That's nice.
Because it's what if. It's saying yes, it's a possibility. I listened to a dear friend yesterday talk for hours to me about her view of COVID and how it came about and what its purpose is. And it's not a view that I am comfortable with, but I kept on saying, oh, yeah, could be. Anything could be.
Yeah.
And we need our touchstones to say, yes, but that's not it. Or I don't believe that's it. And so we have to bring ourselves back to safety somehow when we're tempted to go, out of our comfort zone. And we have to be out of our comfort zone in order to grow.
Yeah, the what ifs, totally. I get that. And thank you for that framing of it, Cass. That makes sense. I have some unresolved stuff around the loneliness of it, which I think actually has to do with, I was listening to Teal Swan yesterday talk about, I'm a big fan of Teal Swan. You guys know Teal Swan?
No.
Okay. If you go on the tubes of you, she's a self-help lady, but she's better than that. She's a public speaker, healer who has some books, who leads workshops that you can go to. But what I like about her, she's very straight shooting, very direct. She's not airy-fairy, but she sees past time and space, and she's like us, okay? But she's also very grounded in what she's bringing through for people is very much about, like, this reality. She was talking about loneliness. She has a whole book about loneliness and a whole thing about loneliness, and I've been digging into it, and basically, like any problem for the human being, there's an imprint from childhood that is driving the problem. And she has you do a few different exercises that get you to be like, well, what was the first time, like, how long have you been lonely? And I'm like, oh, I've never not been lonely, even with people around, because abandonment was constant. All there was loneliness. As an only child of two unavailable, slightly abusive people, slightly and then very, depending on the people, it just was deeply imprinted into me. And so take that and add to it being like this, like I actually am weird and kind of alone. And then there's an imprint of loneliness that's going to make me perceive myself as being alone no matter what. And then a girl has some work to do. So I've been really sitting with that one and going into the depths of it, and also challenging my own isolationist tendencies and going, okay, right now I could either sit here on this couch and be very comfortable. I love being alone. I'm so good at it. And the dog and I, and we're good. But also I know that in 6 hours I'll feel lonely again. So how's my neighbor doing? How's the person doing? And it's like in the same way that sometimes when you're depressed, you have to tell yourself, if I shower, I'll feel better. And I'm not depressed, but I do have that loneliness imprint. So it's like, I know that if I call the people and go to the bar and say the chit chat, I will have some togetherness,
Right.
So I haven't fully transmuted the imprint of that at the core of my being. Wait, how did I get on this? Oh, yeah. So when we're talking about it and I'm asking you, how is that for you? It's like, as you're talking, I'm getting the energy of, oh, right, you don't have the imprint of I'm alone because your parents, blah, 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 blah. So that's good for me to hear another starseed, forgive me, but weirdo like myself say, because it isn't the weirdo-ness that creates the loneliness.
No.
It's the imprint from the childhood. It's some work for me to do.
Right. You have a story that you're alone and no one can possibly, and it's very you have a very thing going on.
Yeah, for sure. Except I wouldn't call it a story because it's not a narrative in my head. It's more of an energetic imprint from emotional pain that needs me to sit with it and reintegrate it. But yes, essentially yes. Yeah,
but the experience you're having of loneliness, you're attaching to, it's because I'm a weirdo, but
but it's not.
Yeah.
It's actually not. And then I've also been getting that teaching because Teal Swan herself is as weird as they come and is quite well respected, has a lot of friends, is married, has all the community, la la la. And I'm like, okay, Katie, so what's going on? And it's been a really good reflection to watch her. She's basically me if I were less, she's more visible me. She's like out more. And there's something there for me. There's some imprint of I'm definitely alone on this ride and people can't hear me or see me and I don't matter and all that stuff. I don't feel the weight of it in my waking. I'm not sad, but it's in there on some level. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. You're right. I've been fortunate. I was brought up. My framework is you are a wonderful, treasured being. I was the first grandchild in the extended family among whom I grew up, and I was adored. And so that's my imprint. That's very rare. The older I get, the more I understand how rare that is.
Exactly.
And so someone said to me once, how do you do what you do? And my answer is always, I grew up in a family that loved me and made sure that I knew I was loved. And that
Thank God to say that. So many people take it as their own accomplishment. They're like, I'm pretty great. And it's like, no, bitch. What is the context from which you arose, you fucking self-important son of a shit face?
Exactly.
But people don't have perspective on their reality. Who's cranky? It's me.
Right. So, but the loneliness, I would say for myself, it has been a sense of aloneness in that there are so few people who I know who do what I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I in Schenectady and now here in Northern California, I have found communities of people with whom I can have conversations in which I don't have to hide anything. I can say everything. And some of them may not do exactly what I do, but they know what I'm talking about. I have a congregation here, which is Ner Shalom of Kotati, fantastic, in which the rabbi and a couple of us led a cleansing ceremony for the inside of the temple one night, in which we called forth the angels. And we knew that it was going to work, and we felt angelic presence around us. How rare is that? It's rare in an organized religious sort of context. It's rare, period, for any group of people who can do that. When I was married for a year, my husband was always late to things, and it infuriated me because I was always on time. My father was a military man. We had to be on time. And I remember one night coming home from a gathering where we had been like an hour or two late for dinner. And I was furious. And I remember saying to him, and it shocked me to hear this, you are my husband, but these are my friends, clearly putting friends in a much more treasured, essential box than husband.
Are you an Aquarius?
No, I'm a Leo with Cancer and Sagittarius in a couple of places.
Yeah, Sag rising or Sag moon, do you know?
Cancer moon, Sag rising. So friends, I've always made sure I had friends. So that combats the aloneness. Now, many times those friends didn't know what I was talking about, so I didn't talk about it with them. But I always had one person, who I could talk to.
Totally.
Very important.
Do you want me to go into your records today?
Do I? Yes.
We better get to it.
Let's do it. Yeah. I have to walk into the kitchen for 1 second. I didn't eat breakfast. I'm going to take one bite of a Power Bar. I'm going to come right back. I'm sorry to leave you guys alone. I'll be 2 seconds.
We're going to talk about things.
Let's talk about Katie.
Actually, Leiah, I just keep thinking, you should be friends with my parents.
Well, maybe the next time I go up to Shasta, I can contact them.
Well, there you go. Yeah, let me know. Just even ideas about I'm doing the audiobook for my dad right now. It's called Mind Leap.
This is a book that your dad wrote?
A fresh view of education empowered by neuroscience and systems thinking. They're big, he's a little more sciencey, but he's all about the other realms, that he really wants the other realms. There was something you said that made me think of the book. Oh, I know. It was just peak experiences. You had an early peak experience.
Oh, I did.
That first one and how you're always maybe trying to get back to that, or you've been able to.
I'm in it a lot. In fact, it happens frequently that I know that I'm looking with more than just my eyes, and that I'm hearing conversations in my head. I'm always listening to conversations in my head that are very faint, but they're always there. And I am more and more frequently aware that my sense of self is much larger than it ever was before. And a friend of mine and I were saying, is that what they mean by ascension? I don't know. Like ascension is this big word that people use. And,
yeah.
And she said, well, I always thought it would be this big thing and you'd know, this is the moment of ascension. I said, I don't know.
More of an escalator.
No.
Yeah, she was saying that she feels the same thing, that when we're anywhere, when we're just in our rooms or that we're aware of having a different and more expanded perception. I would say higher, but people tend to think higher is better and lower is worse, and that's not the case. But larger than my own personality ego, I guess that's what I'm saying. Which is not to say that I'm egoless. I have great respect for the ego, by the way.
Who is?
It keeps us from harm.
Leiah, what's your full legal name? The name on your driver's license, not the one you like, but the real one. Or I should say the other one.
The other one, Roberta Boden. Bowden. Or do you need my whole full birth name?
Your whole full birth name.
My whole full birth name is Roberta Lynn, Lynn, Rubin, same as yours. And then Boden is my married name.
And what's on your driver's license?
Roberta Boden.
Okay, I'm going to go with Roberta Lynn Rubin. We'll see how that goes. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so we'll close our eyes for just a moment. And already Squeezle is asleep on my lap in her position. I did the word thing while I was peeing, and she already has communicated with me. It's been good. I'll tell you more about that later. So we'll take a few deep breaths in our low belly. Just consciously allowing the low belly muscles to relax. As we deepen our breath into the pelvic floor, allowing the low belly to expand and fill with air as we inhale. Like a balloon, the entire area from the belly button to the pelvic floor is just expanding and filling with air. And we'll feel our feet flat on the ground. And we'll see a little spinning foot chakra spinning open at the bottom center of each foot. Spinning wide like a little vortex, like a little tornado. Spinning open, spinning wide. Until the tornado or the vortex gets so wide that there's nothing left. on the bottom of each foot, but an open window or an open plane of energy, which allows the electromagnetic field of our bodies to communicate more directly with the electromagnetic field of the earth below us. And we'll watch now through the mind's eye with no efforting or trying, just a watching, a witnessing, and allowing, as 500 energetic tree roots of light extend through the open window of our left foot, hundreds of miles down into the earth. And 500 tree roots of light extend through the open window of our right foot, hundreds of miles down and in, until there are 1,000 tree roots anchoring through our open feet into the earth. And we'll watch then as those continue to spread and anchor, as a nice wide grounding cord anchors from the base of the spine, about 1.5 feet wide, down to the center of the earth. We'll watch that anchor, that cord, that tube, that tunnel shoot to the center of the earth, where it immediately receives a river of light from the planet, flowing up abundantly through the cord into the base of the spine, flooding forward into the hip sockets, flooding down this river of light through both legs, through the quads and glutes and hamstrings and knees and calves and shins and ankles and feet. And we'll watch this river of light flood down into those 1,000 tree roots, seeing every tree root fill with, be nourished and nurtured by this river of light. And so we do acknowledge the forces of light, asking for guidance, direction, and courage to know the truth as it is revealed for our highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to us. Holy Spirit of God, protect me, please, from all forms of self-centeredness, and direct my attention to the work at hand. Help me to know Roberta Lynn Rubin in the light of the Akashic Records. Help me to see Roberta Lynn Rubin through the eyes of the Lords of the Records. And enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the masters, teachers, and loved ones of Roberta Lynn Rubin have for Roberta Lynn Rubin. And I'll go quiet for just a moment. Amen. And as we deepen into the Akashic Records of Roberta Lynn Rubin, otherwise known as Leiah Bowden, I'm just asking that you deepen me into her records now and into the conscious and aware and awake experience of her records, her Akashic Records. We're asking that anything and everything in her field or mine that would stand in the way of me and she, both of us, receiving any healing that wants to come through, any awareness that wants to come through, all the highest guidance and direction that desires to come through. We ask that all of that be cleared, released. Amen. Open, expanded, uncreated, destroyed, across all time, dimension, space, reality. So sometimes, Leiah, when I get in somebody's records, it's more rare, but it does happen sometimes. I don't have it figured out why and when, but a lot of the time I need my eyes closed so I could stay connected. I was trained not to do that. They trained us with the records reading in particular to have your eyes open to practice being in both worlds at the same time. But I just always get really clear guidance each time. And usually it's eyes closed so you could feel and hear and see and know. And then sometimes the opposite of that, the eyes ping open, and there's something about that when it happens, the individual that happens with tends to be, generally speaking, somebody who's pretty pinged open, which is to say awake. And so my eyes are pinged open. I'm very present to your frequency, and your frequency has this kind of almost like a very conscious field of nothingness. There's nothing here and I know that you in particular will know what I mean by that. There's nothing here. There's no identified ego. There's no heavy densities. There's no I'm a this, I'm a that. It's just conscious awareness, very light, very bright, in a vast field of potential. The word they give is potentiality. I don't know why, but additionally, and then I'll ask you what you'd like to talk about or hear or know. They have me looking quite distinctly at the trees that are outside my window here. And I know you're from upstate New York, and I happen to be sitting in upstate New York. And there are these white trees, white flowering trees that just came alive. I don't know anything about nature. It's not true, but I know very little. Like, I don't know what tree that is, but it's beautiful and it's happening because it's spring. And then there are these greeny, yellowy ones, and there's the river behind it, and the sky is a little gray, but there's some light poking through. And it's something about your childhood and the frequency of your consciousness has to do with these trees, which I guess makes sense now that I think of it. When you talked about nature and your relationship to nature as being a part of your budding spirituality when you were young. And they would like me to ask you, what are these trees for you? Does that bring anything up for you? Does that evoke anything for you?
One of my first mystical experiences was standing at the foot of a pine tree, looking up at the very top and feeling myself go into nothingness at the very top of the tree. And trees have long been allies. And I'm in love with redwoods now.
How are they allies? How does that show up?
They are sources of strength. I feel at home and safe when I am among trees.
It's nice. It's almost like I could feel young you sitting in crisscross applesauce on the ground in your childhood inside a grove of trees that are there's wind, and it's not too much wind. I don't know, I just feel very connected to the earth, very connected to the trees, and very aware that I am spacious nothingness. Okay, questions?
I always want to know if I'm doing the right thing. My own guidance says yes, but there's ego there. So I want to know where I should be aiming my energy to complete my soul's mission. Recently, I've been finding I need a lot of sleep. I do something that has some psychic energy expenditure, and I need a 3-hour nap.
Yeah. So, sorry. So what's the question there?
Question is, how should I be spending my energy to make the best use of my physical being while I'm still capable of passing through whatever's coming through me to all that I'm around?
Okay.
My world.
Sit with that. Is there more she could be doing? No. Is she doing everything she needs to be doing? Yes. So often, okay, there's a bunch here. So often when people ask, people like yourself, should I, could I, is there more, is there something different? Am I pointing in the right direction? What comes through is this feeling of receiving back the love and appreciation and gratitude they have for you. It's human minds and egos always want to know, is it enough? Is it more? Should it be, like you said? And they're like, the only thing we wish for you is that you could receive from us how grateful, how perfect, how much it is, how enough, how more than enough it is what you're being. Because in your case, you're not only bringing the conscious awareness to people of the realms beyond and higher truth and higher self and divinity, but you're carrying it with so much love and mercy and clarity. And also it's like sass and playfulness that you've gone above and beyond on your assignment. Above and beyond. Well done.
So then I'll ask, where can I aim myself to receive even more joy and playfulness and a sense of total wellness?
So what do you mean where?
Well, I mean, is there an activity that I should be doing? Are there kinds of people who I haven't reached out to or included in my life who I would find, oh God, I wish I'd discovered you 5 years ago? Is there, or even geographically?
What are you looking, so what you're looking for, I think I'm hearing you say, is more joy?
I have a lot of joy, but is there more? Where can I find more?
There's always more, they say. Okay, so where, how, what could she do to experience more? Wow, I just got lost for a second there. I felt like 20 minutes just went by. I got lost in the experience of, I could really easily drift away into your being. Dancing, singing, playing with people in community, ecstatic bliss. Give yourself permission to be more over the top, they say, out of the box, lid off, loud, out loud, more out loudness. It's like I see you dancing in a circle with people inside of a building and you're cackling and you're tossing your head back laughing. It's sort of like just give yourself the permission to go fucking far out, you know, in your behavior with people. Obviously you do this with people you trust. Cackling in a circle, dancing. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, I do it. And that I know exactly what you're talking about. Is there a world problem that would benefit from my focusing healing energy?
That's like such a no. I can't even turn my head toward yes on that.
Interesting.
Can you say more about that for me to understand?
Oh, there are so many things that need healing.
Oh, not you. Sorry, them.
Sorry.
Give me no, it's okay. I'm just asking because I'd like to hear what they have to say about that. Because it's such an idea we have as humans. I have to help, I have to fix, I have to try, I have to do. And we do have to, right? Like, who's going to do it if not us? But also something else. So, some of you are here to do certain things, and some of you are here to do other things. This body, mind, organism is here to elevate the frequencies of love and joy, pleasure, insight, awareness, clarity, light, expansion, possibility, pleasure, fun, ecstasy. Your being and soul purpose would not be served by pointing your light in the direction of what is heavy. That's not your jam. Make sense?
Absolutely. They've told me that time and time again. And I always like to check it out because things change.
For sure. What else?
Is the energy I give to members of my family correct?
Yes, but can you be more specific?
Is the energy I give to Lee what it needs to be?
That's like big fat yes. What energy are you giving Lee so we know something about what you're saying?
I am Lee's care manager. He lives in a nursing home.
Oh, your brother.
Lee is my ex-husband. I'm his care manager.
Okay, is there anything else she needs to give Lee? No. Is she giving him everything she can? You're giving more than you even think you are. You have to remember, what you forget is, because you're so brilliant, you have such a bright mind, your energy field is huge and light, and it just gives and gives and gives. Just every millisecond, it's emanating light. So just by sitting anywhere near him, just by thinking a thought about him, you're contributing to him. So you're past your quota.
All right, then my next question will be, what can I do to be better known in the world so that all of this light can spread even farther?
They're like, no. Okay. I'm talking to them now. Can you say this? Can you say more about this? Okay, so some people are meant to speak to big numbers of people outside of their small community. Some people are meant to brighten the community so brightly that the community speaks to the vast everyone. Some people are meant to speak to one person. And that person's receiving of it is what is required. This time period on Earth, more than any other time period on Earth, is about, this is why Katie's so interested in and supportive of and obsessed with human design, is because this is the era of waking up to the very specific individual purpose each person carries. This is a dawning of the age of the individual, meaning not to say that everyone has to be individually oriented. You can be communally oriented, you can be tribal in your channels, but it's the age of people really understanding that they have a very specific, unique purpose. So it is a culturally sanctioned and culturally conditioned idea that you should be getting out to more people. So you would be better served to decondition yourself from that idea. Does that make sense?
Yes.
There is no requirement for that with you. As you are organically moved to whatever, go for it. Make a blog, write a book, hang with people, sing a song. That's all you need pursue. It's more than enough. And we understand that with the state of humanity at this time, you would think, I should do more, I should be more, I should do it in a different shape, I should do it a different way. Not if it takes you outside of your own organic, true, correct functioning. And you being concerned with it going bigger would take you out of that. Does that make sense to you, resonate with you?
Totally.
Okay. Because, that's very confronting to some people, but I want to be a big, mega, whatever. And I understand it. We all understand that confrontation when you've had that dream, which you haven't, but this is for some people listening. But one has to understand one is on a path of becoming oneself and giving what this being is here to give. And this culture tells you all beings should get better at being like this. And that's not true. Okay, what else, Leiah?
I can't think of any more questions.
Okay.
I am so grateful for this process and for the record keepers and for you.
And all of us bow in your presence humbly and are grateful to you, myself included. Let's see. You guys have anything for her? Information, energies? Yeah, just, it's already been stated, but just stay away from the doubt and the thinking. Just follow where the bliss is and more head back cackling. What is that you do in the dancing circle?
That's dancing around at my congregation in a big circle with people to live music, having fun. It's ecstasy. Ugh. It's giving our life love to each other and to community and in gratitude to Creator.
I love it. Who are these awakened Jews you're hanging with?
Ner Shalom of Kotati. And next time you come out, I want to take you there.
I sold. Done and done.
Yeah, you might also enjoy the temple in Woodstock or the community led by Shir Yaakov Feit, F-E-I-T, also in your neck of the woods. Ecstatic singing.
Oh, I'm going to hit you up later about all this.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Let me close your records so I can come somewhere back near to Earth, because boy, am I not here right now. You are like the windiest wind. You're just wind, but even less windy than wind.
Wind is my favorite element. Well,
of course it is.
Fire.
I want to thank the masters, teachers, and loved ones for their love and compassion. The Lords of the Records for their point of view, and the Holy Spirit of light for all knowledge and healing. I ask that you return all of Roberta Lynn Rubin's energy to herself now, please. Sadly, take it. I ask that you return her to her complete human wholeness now, please. The divine portal and the Akashic records of Roberta Lynn Rubin are now closed. Amen. The divine portal and the Akashic records of Roberta Lynn Rubin are now closed. Amen. The divine portal and the Akashic records of Roberta Lynn Rubin are now closed. Amen, amen, amen. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammad abduhu wa rasulullah. It's so funny, Leiah, because, my body does a lot of Moodra-ing, as you were talking about mudras before. The mudras with you, though, like coming into the records, there's always a lot of, we're opening and we're moving and we're mudras, and it's like this, and my hands are everywhere, and they're touching my body, and it's been more lately, which is interesting. And with you, it's like this. And if for the audience, it's like my hands are floppy and they sort of move a little, and they're just like, because there's so little resistance in your field that it's just like, I just go like that. It's fine. It's so funny.
Drunkenly stroking aside a cobweb.
Yeah, exactly. Just barely trying in any way, because the wind doesn't need hands to move it. You are such a goddamn delight. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Thank you so much for inviting me to be here and hang out with you guys. It's been such a pleasure.
Oh my gosh. And so tell people, where can they go to get a auric field painting situation?
Yes, get paintings. You can see them all on my website, which is www.lightspeak.com. Everything is there. Animal communication, soul journey, energy portraits, multidimensional readings. It's all there.
I want to be you when I grow up.
You are me.
Yeah, but you have all the joy and stuff, so I'm going to work toward it.
Oh, you guys are 100% soul sisters. It is so witnessable.
Right?
From the moment you started talking, Leiah, I was like, oh, yeah. You guys are just time-shifted versions of each other.
Totally. And we have to do some kind of lineage homework on the Rubin.
I think so.
That's interesting.
Wouldn't that be amazing? I mean, your family, you're from up here, upstate New York. All the Jews in my family are from up here.
Uh-huh. But see, my fathers, the Rubins, come from Minsk Gubernia in Russia.
Well, mine too.
Well, there you go.
I mean, I can't say, I don't know Minsk, but I know Russia.
Russia, the outskirts of Minsk.
For sure.
And the name was originally Rubinchik.
Interesting. I did not know that. I don't know that for me, but that's
probably, or something like that.
What if we both do 23andMe at the same time and then share our results?
That would be cool. I've already done something.
I haven't done it.
Yeah, I didn't understand it.
What if you're actually directly related?
I would not be surprised.
I really wouldn't be either. And the way we met, it would tickle me deeply if we were related.
I know. Yeah, we should do that. Now, I'm coming upstate in August, and I want to come and see you. We can get together and hang.
Please, hello. And let's go to do the Woodstock things and the singing and the whatever.
Yes, that would be lovely.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. All right, it's a quick story, and you can edit this out. When my husband and I first came to California in 1972, we camped on Mount Shasta for 2 weeks. And every morning we heard this guy saying, and this is what we heard, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. We don't know what that was. So we would yell back, Alhamdulillah. Really, it's only been in the last 5 years that I realized it was Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah.
For the listener, Alhamdulillah is Arabic for all praise to the one. But Alhamdulillah is how you get a car in Mount Shasta.
So you hail a cab.
I'm sure.
I'll take a Honda over to... My name is Layla.
Bring a Honda to Leiah.
Lila, love you, Layla. Thank you for being here. Okay.
My pleasure. Nice to meet you, Cassidy.
You too. Absolute pleasure.
Bye.
We'll be in touch.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
All right. Everybody do their
your
work.
What are you asking for? All of the answers? Say what? All of the answers? Yeah, all the answers.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. We'd love to hear from you. Please email us with your questions so that we have questions to answer in the Akashic Records. Our email address is allanswerspod@gmail.com. That's allanswerspod@gmail.com. And if you'd like to find us on Facebook or Twitter, it's @allanswerspod, @allanswerspod. Thank you.
No, it's fine. I'm just more thinking of Desmond.
Oh, I got you. That guy. Ugh. Jokes.
Mixed and edited by Desmond McNeese for We Mixed It, LLC. Go to whatsoundsawesome.com.